will we get it done? How will we manage this task? How will it affect the team? Of the types, these are the most personal, right? These guys are about people, but activity in people, right? Because they're active. These guys are more about like closer, deeper connection, family, all right? So if you're starting a conversation with an S, it's very different than a D. You want to start that conversation with, how are you doing today? All right? How are you feeling? The thing that these guys want more than anything is to get along. These people like a harmonious workplace. They don't like conflict. D's don't mind conflict at all. Bring it on. I'll just throw them through the brick wall, right? S's get very uncomfortable with conflict, all right? Most people with this type of personality will end up finding jobs where they can do a little bit of caretaking. A lot of nurses are high S's, social workers, teachers. That's just the common personality trait of an S. They take care of the teams, all right? So when the S comes up to the brick wall, they look at the wall, they look at the team, and then they let all the people who can take care of themselves go over first, right? Then they start helping the people who need a little help. I'll give you a boost. Go ahead, climb up there. If it's really bad, they'll just get down on all fours and say, climb on my back. All right? So the S's are such good caretakers that sometimes they don't leave enough for themselves. They help everybody else with their deadlines and then miss their own deadline, right? So they're really good caretakers, but you want to be sure not to abuse them. Otherwise, they don't meet their own deadlines and the team fails anyway, all right? Last one, the C's. I think there was quite a few C's in here, yes? Who identified as a C? All right, a couple of you guys in there. The C stands for correctness or conscientiousness. All right, the things that the C's love: accuracy, facts, details. The things that the C wants to get, they want to get it, what? What do you think they want to get?
Right.
Get it right! Yes! We want to get it right. One time I was teaching a class and I had a flip chart like this, and about an hour into the class, this woman raises her hand and she says, I'm really sorry, but you didn't put a parenthesis at the end of this thing and it's been driving me crazy all morning. Can I fix it? She was probably a C, right? C's have very good attention to detail. They enjoy having information early, right? Because they work at a more moderate pace. So do them a favor. Send them information as soon as you have it and let them start analyzing it. They ask a lot of why questions. Why are we doing this? They're big on the why question. And they want to know too about safety. What's going to trip us up? What's going to get us in trouble? So they're skeptical and questioning, but they move at a more methodical pace. So unlike the D's, who are like the gas pedal of the car, the C's are like the brake pedal. Whoa, let's slow it down and make sure we've thought of everything before we commit to this course of action. All right? So they really balance each other out nicely. I used to have a friend who was a high C, and when I was in the States, I would call her voicemail to let people listen to it. Because it sounded something like this. Hi, you've reached here at Chorba. I'm not available right now. If you leave your name, number, the time that you called, what you'd like to call back with, name of your first child, your favorite color. She wanted all the information. C's love data and accuracy. The more they have, the happier they are. All right? So when the C comes up to that brick wall, and their mission is to get everybody to the other side, mentally they're adding to it, get everybody to the other side safely, right? So they start collecting data. They set up a wind sock to measure wind information. Where is it coming from? How often does it gust? They weigh everybody and get their jumping abilities, like how high can they jump, right? And then they figure out in their spreadsheet, because they're really good with that stuff, right? They enter all the data in there, and they come up with a beautiful plan to get everybody safely to the other side. It just took them longer than any of the other types, right? Because they collected all that data. But in reality, we want teams that have a little bit of everything, because each of these brings different value to the organization. All right? So we want to talk for the last 10 minutes about some different strategies that will engage all those different types. So here's what I want you to do for the next couple of minutes. I want you to just find a partner. Turn to someone who's next to you. If there's an odd number, you can have 3 people. And I want you to think about the question, when you've gone to meetings and they've been really good, really productive, and you felt like you were engaged in doing your best work, what were the strategies or the techniques or the things that the facilitator was doing to make you feel like you were able to do your best work? Make sense? Clear on the question? I'm losing my voice, so I can't scream. When it's time to stop, I will blow this whistle. All right? So just talk for a couple of minutes, and then I'll blow the whistle. Come up with 1 or 2 strategies, you and your partner, that each one of you felt worked for you. All right? Let's go ahead and do that real quick. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I would love to hear a couple ideas that came up as you were having your discussion. So if you volunteer, tell us what the idea was, and then let's see if we can guess what type they were, just based on what the strategy was that worked for them. We may get it wrong, but it's a fun game anyway, all right? So who's willing to say one strategy that worked to make your meetings real effective? Yeah.
Time boxes.
Time boxes, all right. What type do we think he is? He liked time boxes. Can you tell us why you liked them? What did you like about them?
Because that way, the people in the meeting does not start to talk about anything that is not about the meeting.
So they don't go on too long and tell
Yeah.
stories that aren't related to helping us achieve our objective. All right, so time boxes. I have that on my list. What type do we think he is? D. Think he's a D? How many people think D? How many people think maybe he's a C? Are you a C? Yeah? Here's how I knew. When you find conflict on your teams, it is most likely going to happen across the quadrants, like this. So the C and the I are going to have the most conflicts, and the D and the S, because they don't share any borders, all right? The D and the I, at least, well, okay, we both work at the same pace. The D thinks the I spends too much time focused on people. The I thinks the D is too task-oriented, right? So when he said why, he said so people won't go on and on talking, right? So the thing that drove him nuts was something an I would do, right? So most likely he's a C. So that's how you can start to go, oh, the things that drive people crazy can be indicators too of what type they are. So let's put this up here. I'm gonna write, see how green looks on the board. Time box.
I have a blue one.
You have a blue one. Wait, will this blue one work? No, we tried that blue one too. Red. All right. Oh, you're so good. Thank you. Time box. Oh, even better. There we go. Time box. All right. Thank you very much. You had another one. Another strategy. Yes.
The ideas need to be clear.
The ideas need to be clear. How does that help you? What makes you happy when the ideas are clear?
Objective talk, subject.
The objective is clear and you know where you're going.
Right, the point.
Direct to the point. All right. What do we think he is? What type? We need really clear objectives. You think maybe a D? How many people think D? C? C? Could be somewhere in between. Sir?
I am C.
You think you're a C. All right. So right here, clear objectives. That's actually going to help all the types, right? But details and facts make C's happy, so the clearer the objective is, the better off you are. And I would bet you would be happy to know that before the meeting, before you showed up, so you could show up well prepared. So that's another tip. If you're working with C's, send stuff ahead of time. If you're working with I's, don't bother. Just tell them when they get there. Because they're busy talking to people, all right? There's nothing wrong with that. They just operate better discussing things than reading them ahead of time, right? So you're going to be more successful if you both send it ahead of time and cover the key points right at the beginning. Here's the agenda. Here's a clear objective, right? That way everybody's covered. All right, one more. Yeah.
I'm using a whiteboard.
Using a whiteboard.
Yeah.
So what was good about that?
For me, it creates agreement and also it's kind of like agreement with collaborative work with a focus.
Collaborative work,
Yeah.
agreement, and a focus. All right. So what do we think his type is? Collaborative, agreement, maybe S? Where did you place yourself?
And I,
S or I? I was going to say something people related. Collaborative is a key word that I's would use, right? They love playing together and sharing ideas. All right, so a whiteboard, specifically using it for collaboration. Also will make the S's happy, all right? The good news is, things like a time box make multiple people happy too. Limits the talking, right? Keeps us on focus. The D's are happy when you limit things to a couple of minutes because they know when it'll end, because they value time. All right? Collaboration makes the I's happy. The S's are the most agreeable. They're probably going to be happy anyway. All right? Here's the thing that I find helps teams be most successful in getting information from S's. They don't like to disagree. It's not comfortable for them. Everybody has the capacity to do things even if they don't like them. So I like to use an exercise called pluses and deltas at the end of every meeting. I ask the group, what were the things we did well that we want to continue doing as a team? And what are the deltas? What are the things we need to change? All right? I usually draw something like this, pluses and deltas, and then I write the ideas. And I start with somebody, I say, I'm going to start with you, and we'll go around and hear one plus from everybody. And then I'll start with you, and we'll go around and hear one delta from everybody. Now, if everybody's giving a delta, the S doesn't feel so bad because they're kind of required and it's their job. They still don't love it, but the structure allows them to do it without feeling too bad. Make sense? So we only have about 30 seconds left. Do you want me to give you a couple more structures before?
Sure.
Got a couple more minutes?
Sure.
All right. Do you guys use ground rules? We talked about it. I heard you. What was it? Regras para reuniões? Thank you. What he said. Ground rule. So I want to give you at least one ground rule that will help you manage each of the types as well. All right? So for the S, the one that I love is a ground rule called everybody speaks. So what do you guys think that means? If the ground rule is everybody speaks, how would you apply that?
Asking everyone to speak.
Yeah, you really need to create a way to hear from everyone. So you can create a ground rule. The other trick you can use is a round robin. Do you guys use those? Where you go around and everybody speaks at least once, right? So that is something that will engage the people that would otherwise sit back. Works with introverts. A lot of people are introverted. So that ground rule helps. Using round robin helps. The ground rule that I like to use for the I's, and you'll appreciate this, right? Because they have a lot of stories. I call this ground rule headline. So when people start telling those stories, you can say, let's stop. If this was a newspaper article, can you just tell us what the headline would be? We'll capture that and then we'll move on. Right? So it limits people from going on and on and on about a topic. You just get the headline and you can tell them, if we all understand the headline, we don't need to hear the whole story. People get what that means, right? It's a great ground rule if you have a lot of people that talk and talk in your meetings. With the D's, I like to use something like defer judgment, because they can kind of snap at people and be like, nope, move on, won't work. So before we say stuff like that, I like to use a rule of defer judgment. Give it a chance and let's talk about it a little bit before we snap it shut. All right? And then for both the D's and the I's, I like to use one called the rule of three. Right? The D's and the I's are the ones that will talk first in the meeting. They're more naturally going to speak first. So I give the rule of three, which means when I ask a question, and I might specifically address them before the meeting and say, before you answer, let 3 other people answer, or 3 minutes pass. If they're really, really talkative, I make it the rule of 5. Slow them down even more, right? So you can use something like that. So you're not always hearing from the same person, right? If you've spoken, you need to wait 3 minutes or until 3 other people have spoken. That will help limit the D's and the I's from talking and increase what you're going to hear from the C's and the S's. And then the last one, for the C's, because they're very analytical, and sometimes the things of safety and not wanting us to drive off a cliff with our plan, it comes across as being negative. And they don't mean to be, they're just being analytical and helping us not make mistakes, but it can drive other people on the team crazy